Hey guys, welcome to Battle VIP Pass FST. We could duo feature new Hatterene VMAX from Crown Zenith with the Witch's Domain ability, allowing to move up to 2 damage counter from your Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon once during your turn. You get to stack this ability as well. So we are playing only 3 copies though, just because we need a lot of space for our draw support and also our second V-Star evolution, our second V evolution. So we're playing, in addition to the VMAX, we have our Mawile VSTAR to do Sudden Eater for 180 damage for 2 colorless. We get to do 90 more, so 90 base plus 90 more equals 180 damage total. If you switch your Mawile into the active spot during your turn, you get to do 180 damage for 2 energies. So we also have our Star Rondo, which is a V-Star ability that we get to use, doing a cross-switcher effect, switching Mawile into the active spot from the bench, and also any one of our opponent's bench Pokemon into the active spot. So we actually get to play this ability while also using Witch's Domain and tank also with our V-Star. So our V-Star is able to tank with our V-Guard energy. We are only playing 1 copy though. Eventually we decided only on 1 copy of Horror energy as well to place extra damage counters, not only with Witch's Domain but also with our Spikemuth as well. So Spikemuth is mainly to place damage counter on our own Pokemon, but it can also affect your opponent if they don't play stadium cards. So if you can play your Spikemuth to damage counter, to place damage counter on opponent's active Pokemon when they switch into their bench, that would be ideal, but sometimes it may not be possible. It's basically there to help us play Witch's Domain, right? If your opponent do a one-hit knockout on your Pokemon, if they do not, place damage count, if they do not injure your Pokemon, if they instantly knock out your Pokemon, leaving no damage counters in play, then Spikemuth is going to help you place damage counter on your own Pokemon so that you get to transfer them with your Hatterene VMAX's ability onto your opponent's active Pokemon. So Witch's Domain is super fun to play. You get to transfer up to 6 damage counter onto your opponent's active Pokemon while doing 180 damage, fast damage over and over. Easy damage as well, because there's only double colorless energy. You get to do 160 with a double turbo. You get to play Raihan. We are playing 2 copies of Raihan to do 190 damage fast. We can also attack with Hatterene, by the way, doing 𝒁𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒕𝒉, doing 𝒁𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒕𝒉 for 150 damage for 1 Psyche and 2 colorless. We get to play Raihan for a double turbo and attach it on the same turn to attack, attaching 3 energies in a single turn to do 𝒁𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒕𝒉 for a confusion effect as well. We get to confuse their active Pokemon while doing 130 damage just because double turbo reduces 20 damage. We are also playing Radiant Eternatus to basically bench our VMAXs fast early in the game. So if you want to play Radiant Eternatus though, you're not allowed to attach energy onto your VMAX just because you are ending your turn after playing Eternatus's ability. Climactic Gate allow you to search your deck for any 2 VMAX, put it directly onto your bench, and then end your turn. And that means you're not allowed to attach energies after benching your VMAX with your Eternatus. So we are actually, our main intention is to attach energy to Mawile, preparing our Mawile to attack on the next turn so we get to use our Witch's Domain ability. So we are using only Hatterene for the ability to start with, and then later on we could possibly play Raihan to attack with 𝒁𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒕𝒉. It's not our main attacker, it's just a potential attacker. Our main attacker has to be Mawile just because it's a super fast attacker and it only requires 2 colorless. We also have our Kirlia for the draw support and also a lot of switch cards to make sure you get to play Sudden Eater for 180 damage and also Spikemuth with Hatterene VMAX combo. We want to be playing Spikemuth so that we get to place damage counter on our own Pokemon and transfer it into their active as we said. And we also have 1 Scoop Up Net for Eternatus, freeing up the bench spot for another Pokemon so that we get to bench our Cursola or any other cards. So we have 1 copy of Cursola to counter 1 prize decks. If they play 1 prize, we get to do Gnawing Aura to place 3 more damage counter on their Pokemon as each time they attach energy onto their Pokemon. We also get to play Hollow Missile to place 3 extra damage counter on their bench in any way we like, and transfer even more with our Hatterene VMAX. So we get to spread a lot of damage counters with our Hollow Missile and also Witch's Domain. So that's the main strategy against 1 prize decks. Against VMAX or V-Star, we're planning to use our Mawile V-Star for the knockout. And we also have a lot of balls to summon our basics fast. We have 4 VIP Pass, 4 Quick Ball, 2 Capture to get our basics. To get our Eternatus though, to be able to play our Radiant ability, we actually have to put it into our hand and then bench it from our hand, and that means we only get to use Radiant Eternatus' ability on the first turn if we get a Quick Ball or our Ultra Ball on the first turn. If we don't get either of those cards, we are not able to play our Eternatus. If it's in our prize, we have 1 Heavy Ball to substitute for the card. We also have 1 Great Ball to search for Eternatus as well, or our evolutions, 3 Incense and 2 Ultra Ball for the evolution, and also 1 Fog Crystal to get either the energy or our basic psychic Pokemons. We're playing 2 Hatterene Vs and also 2 Mawile V. And for our supporter cards, we have 2 Bird Keeper for the Switch, 3 Marnie for the draw support, 2 Serena for the boss effect or the draw support, and also 2 Raihan for the extra energy. We also have 3 Spikemuth, 2 Air Balloons, and also I actually recommend playing only 1 Air Balloon and 2 Switch instead of 1 Switch and 2 Air Balloon, and also 1 Escape Rope for the Switch to help us play Mawile's ability more times, just because if you have an extra Air Balloon in your hand, it doesn't actually allow you to switch another time, right? If you have an Air Balloon attached to your Mawile already in the active, you can't actually play Sudden Eater without using his ability, and we only get to use Star Rondo once every single game. You're not able to use this V-Star power more than once per game. So you have to be very careful, and that's why I actually suggest maybe playing only 1 Air Balloon. I haven't tested it though, so it's all up to you to test it out. We also have 4 basic psychic energy for Raihan, 1 horror energy, 1 V-Guard as we said, and 2 capture with 2 double turbo. So that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplay! Okay, let's go for our first game. We're up against Urshifu VMAX with, Hisuian Zoroark V-Star, my bad. So Hisuian Zoroark V-Star can do a 1-hit knockout, so we have to be very careful because we are not, they are not injuring our Pokemon, and that means we can't actually transfer damage counters from our Pokemon by tanking, but we can transfer by using their stadium though. They are playing Gapejaw, and we can make use of their stadium card to place damage counter on our own Pokemon in addition to our Spikemuth. So for this game, we only are playing 2 copies of Spikemuth. Eventually, I realize how important that card is, just because if you don't play enough Stadiums or Worker, there is a new card, Worker, from Silver Tempest that actually allows you, not really that new from the last set, that actually allows you to discard a Stadium card in play, which actually allows you to play not just Star Rondo, but also Witch's Domain and Radiant Eternatus' ability. If they play Power Tripping on their first turn going first, you cannot use your Climactic, I forgot the name, but Radiant Eternatus' ability does not work, and that means you cannot search your deck for VMAXs to bench on the first turn with your Radiant ability. So you have to make sure to play enough Stadiums or enough Workers in your deck. Worker only allows you to draw 3 cards though, that's why I don't like to play it, but sometimes you have no choice. Just to add the consistency, I prefer adding 3 Stadium cards. I feel like 3 Stadium is enough. If you want more consistency, obviously swap a Bird Keeper for a Worker, but I just like more Switch cards. So here comes the Gapejaw, and they just played Avery on the first turn, forcing us to discard the Mawile, which is terrible because we only are playing 2 copies and we have no Ralts in this deck. We could have discarded the Hatterene, but just to make sure we get to make full use of the abilities, we want to be playing Witch's Domain as many times as we can, using the ability, stacking the ability as often as we can possibly manage to for this game and for every game that we play. So that's the reason we did not discard Hatterene VMAX instead. Okay, so we're gonna evolve the Mawile V-Star and then play the Marnie. We have nothing but Kirlia for the draw support for this deck, but we do have enough supporter cards though. Okay, we're gonna do Star Rondo right now. So Star Rondo works against Diancie. Serena and Boss does not work. Cross Switcher works. Umbreon VMAX also works. Escape Rope also works. So there are a lot of counters with Diancie, but it's still pretty powerful. Okay, we're gonna do Star Rondo for our first knockout here because we got 3 damage counter transfer. They just did Void Return, which is a big mistake because I suppose they were expecting us to bench. They were expecting us to bench Pokemons anyways because they have a Gapejaw in play, so that would actually mean we would be able to transfer the damage counter from our bench Pokemon anyways onto the Zoroark if we did Star Rondo on this turn. So might as well just do some damage with Void Return, right? So we got no Spikemuth, but we are playing Witch's Domain transferring the damage counter from Void Return's attack on the previous turn, because we have no Pokemons to bench either, and that means 𝒁𝒆🏐🏐 is not helping us, unfortunately, for this turn. So they need 𝒁𝒆🏐, and that means it's going to stay in play for a while, and it's going to help us transfer damage counter every single turn into their active. Bad thing about Hatterene VMAX is that it only allows you to transfer onto their active Pokemon, which is very, very annoying. It's a VMAX ability. I mean, why is it so bad, right? We had Meowstic from Battle Styles doing the same ability, except it allows you to transfer only one damage counter, but it allows you to transfer to any one of your opponent's Pokemon. You get to move one damage counter from any one of your Pokemon to any one of your opponent's Pokemon, which is very, very fun to play, but it's only one damage counter though. I'm not sure if it's enough. Hatterene is 2 damage counter, but it's only on the active Pokemon. You get to transfer from any of your Pokemon, obviously, but only to their active Pokemon. So we got our V-Guard for Hatterene. We're gonna play Serena, but fail because they have Diancie, so for this game, I wasn't being alert. I was so focused on killing the Zoroark. I thought I had it. Like, I thought I had this game. I thought the win was easy. I thought we killed the Zoroark, the second one, this turn, but apparently it's a lot harder. So if we got our Escape Rope though, it would be easy for us to knock it out. We need another bench Pokemon. I think they did Void Return on the last turn. I'm not sure what they did though. I'm actually not sure what they did. So we're gonna do Refinement to draw 2 cards, and then we're gonna play. I don't think we should be doing Star Rondo though. If we don't, they're probably gonna do a boss, because they have Phantom Star to draw cards. They need a lot though. They need a lot to be able to knock out Mawile on the next turn if we have it in the bench. So I feel like we should just save it in the bench. If we knock it out this turn, if we knock out the Diancie, we would need to kill 2 more Zoroarks anyways, because we have no boss in his deck. So I don't think we should be wasting our Mawile VSTAR. Since we already discarded the other copy, we should be keeping our attackers safe on the bench. It's quite easy for them to discard their Gengar and play Damage Pump, so I'm not sure if they can pull off the boss this turn for a knockout. If they do a boss for a one-hit knockout on the Mawile, I would be very, very disappointed, because it would be the worst decision of my life. We have a V-Guard attached to Mawile though, so for this game, we have 2 V-Guard energies in this deck. I don't think we have a Level Ball. I'm not sure what other cards we don't have. But I think we only are playing 2 stadiums, right? We have only 2 stadium cards, but we have an extra V-Guard energy and less basic energy as well. 1 more horror. So we have 2 horror and 2 V-Guard for this game, only for this game. Eventually I decided, you know what, let's not rely too much on the special energies, because they could quite easily do Temple of Sinnoh, and if we don't get our stadium card, we're done for. We can't attack with Hatterene. We can still attack with Mawile because it's colorless energy costs, but we can't attack with Hatterene. Okay, here comes the VSTAR. Do they have it? Do they have the boss? They played Phantom Star. And they're gonna do Pokegear for the boss. Oh my gosh. Are they gonna knock us out? It doesn't really matter though if they do, because we have Hatterene ready to go. We have our Raihan and Hatterene ready to go. So I feel like we should be fine still. Here comes the boss. And they did boss on the Hatterene, okay, instead of the Mawile. 180 damage, trying to deal with the ability, trying to cancel our ability as soon as possible, but we got the transfer. We're going to transfer 4 damage counter with Witch's Domain onto the Zoroark. And then we're going to switch or retreat to play our Sudden Eater for 180 damage. So 180 plus 60, 240 is not quite enough to kill the Zoroark, but we can transfer on the next turn to finish off the Zoroark with our abilities. And then we can damage a new Pokemon with our Mawile VSTAR again. So that's the power of Hatterene, is that you get to place, it's a time sensitive ability. If your opponent doesn't deal with the VMAX, if they don't play Path to the Peak, or if they don't deal with the VMAX ability in some way, if they don't knock it out fast, you can slowly place more and more damage counters on their active until you knock it out with your abilities, and then that allows you to damage target a new Pokemon with your Mawile VSTAR a second time. So that's the main MVP for this deck. We have our Hatterene, another basic. We're gonna get the VMAX. We're gonna compress the deck so that we can draw the right cards into our hand. We want to be drawing a switch card this turn. So we have one less Bird Keeper, but one more Marnie for this list. It's a little bit of an experiment. This is one of the earliest version of the Hatterene Mawile combo. And when I first built this deck, I didn't have, the right ratios. So we have a bit less stadium cards, a bit less switch cards, and that's why it doesn't work. So if we had the Bird Keeper, we could have done it, but I think we played a support card already. We played Marnie, right? Okay, we're gonna do Spikemuth to remove the Gabejaw more than anything, because we don't want to be damaging our own Pokemon since we have damage counters to transfer already. If we remove the Gabejaw, that means they're gonna have to search for another stadium card or play their damage palm to get more damage in the game. So all they need is 290 damage to kill off our Mawile. They just need the Choice Belt. Choice Belt and full damage counters on all of their Pokemons in play. That's gonna hit 310 damage. Okay. Oh my gosh, they actually did knock. Okay, they did a boss. My bad. They did a boss on the Hatterene and knock it out. So Hatterene is gone, but now we got our third one. Since we benched one on the last turn, and now we got to evolve it to play Witch's Domain for 4 damage counters again, knocking out their Zoroark in the active, and that allows us to hit a new Pokemon with our Sudden Eater Mawile. With Mawile Sudden Eater. So if you knock out your opponent's Pokemon before placing the second damage counter, you're not allowed to place the second one. So for this list, we have a Jinx and a Mimikyu as well. Mimikyu is actually a really good combo for against VSTAR or VMAX decks. But against one price deck, I feel like Cursola is going to do a lot better. Mimikyu doesn't actually work against one price decks. We have a lot of HP though, even for the VSTAR against one price. So I feel like we shouldn't be too worried. Okay, we're going to thin out the deck again. We don't need the 4th Hatterene. We actually have 4 copies of the VMAX for this game. And maybe 3 of the V. I'm not too sure now. Possibly 3 copies of the Hatterene Basic. So we're going to play Raihan to charge up our Hatterene on the bench. We have a V-Guard attached to it. So that means we just need another Psychic Energy or a Horror. So we're just going to search for a Horror. And now we have 20 damage counters on the Zoroark. Not quite enough to kill the Zoroark, unfortunately. So we just need 1 more damage counters though. 1 more damage counter for the final 2 prize to win the game. If they have a Crobat, we would have won by now. But I don't think we got Serena for this turn. Okay, they did another boss. If they can do another VMAX knockout this turn, they win the game. They have Howlucha, they have Damage Palm. Do they have Damage Palm or Gengar? That's the main card that they need. So that's the final card. The last card in their hand is the V-Star. They got no Gengar in the discard pile, no Damage Palm in hand, no supporter cards, no draw support, and that's it. It's finished. So all we need now is to retreat and kill off the Zoroark, and we're good to go. We win the game. We can even play 𝒁𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒕𝒉 for the knockout. So they have 4 damage counters remaining. We're just gonna play Hatterene VMAX, retreat to the VMAX, and then do 𝒁𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒕𝒉 for 150 damage because we have no double turbo, and confusing their active as well, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we won the first game against Hisuian Zoroark. Next would be Urshifu Umbreon VMAX. Single strike Urshifu Umbreon, which is very, very strong in meta right now because they got one-hit KO strategy. They got the free boss that actually works against Diancie, a free boss that works against a lot of abilities. Except for Weezing though. We have Weezing now. Neutralizing, sorry, we still have Weezing locking abilities in standard. And for Scarlet and Violet, there's gonna be a new Klefki, if you guys don't already know, that shuts down all basic Pokemon's abilities, and that means Manaphy has no ability, Comfey has no ability, Snorlax has no ability, Jirachi has no ability. A lot of Pokemon's Radiant Pokemon as well have no abilities. Even Crobat V and Lumineon. So Klefki is going to be a big deal, but there are counters to it, obviously. It has to be in the active spot for you to be able to use the ability, for the ability to work. If it's on your bench, it has no abilities. Well, it still have the ability, but it doesn't actually work, right? It's not working. It has the ability, but it's not working. So it's very important to be specific about the wording, because if you have an ability, full face guard doesn't work. If you have an ability, you cannot damage Alolan Vulpix VMAX, sorry, Alolan Vulpix V-Star. If you have an ability, you cannot damage Melmetal single strike if they damage you, if they used the first attack on their last turn. So having an ability is very, very important. You need to be aware of every single detail of the game. Okay, now they have Umbreon in the game. They just need to evolve to target the Hatterene. So their job in this game is to play Umbreon VMAX for a VMAX knockout. They can kill Hatterene with one hit using the G-Max attack. 160 damage is enough because we have only 320 HP, and Hatterene is a psychic Pokemon. It's a psychic type, that means it's weak towards darkness. Umbreon can quite easily one-hit KO our Hatterene. So we have no choice but to play Star Rondo on the next turn. If they bench another Houndour though, if they had benched another one, another Houndour on the last turn, Star Rondo would have done nothing. So we got pretty lucky for this game, because I suppose both players are playing VIP and Quick Balls in force. We have, in addition to that, a Great Ball, a Heavy Ball, a Level Ball, 2 Ultra Balls, a lot of balls. We have, 3 Incense as well, but 2 Capture in addition to all of those cards to get our basics fast. So that's the reason we have a lot more basics set up early game than our opponent. Okay, we're gonna play Quick Ball. We're gonna get the Ralts. All we need to do now is switch and kill off the Umbreon, but I'm not sure if we can pull it off. Are we able to pull off the Umbreon VMAX knockout? Can we kill the Umbreon before it evolves? I don't think it's that easy though, because we have no draw engine this turn. We're not able to draw this turn. We're not able to retreat with the energy cost because we can't attach energy onto Eternatus. We've already attached it to our Mawile, and that means we are forced to play Star Rondo to deal with the Houndoom. And that means they have no single strike Roar to charge up their Umbreon VMAX on the next turn. So Umbreon VMAX is not doing any damage because they have only one energy in play. They can only attach one extra energy from their hand, and that means they have not enough energies to attack, and we get to slowly kill off the Umbreon in the active. So I think I'm just gonna end the voice right here, leave you guys to focus on the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this new combo. We are featuring the new Hatterene VMAX from Crown Zenith with the Witch's Domain ability, allowing to move up to 2 damage counter from any of your Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon for each copy you have in play every single turn. We are using this card with our Mawile VSTAR to do fast damage, doing Sudden Eater for 180 damage for only 2 colorless by switching it into the active. If you have it on your bench, you got to switch it into the active to do 90 extra damage, doing a total of 180 damage fast. And we also get to place extra damage counter by playing Spikemuth to do the switch effect, placing damage counter on our own Pokemon, so we get to transfer with our Hatterene VMAX onto their active Pokemon. And we get to slowly kill them off with damage counters using Hatterene VMAX, and also while doing 180 big damage with our Mawile. We even have Cursola V to deal with 1 price decks, doing Hollow Missile for 3 extra damage counter placement on their bench. We also get to place extra damage counter with Hatterene VMAX on their active as well against Lunatone Solrock. Against Regigigas, we can win quite easily with our Cursola and also Hatterene VMAX combo. So that's all for the deck list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, and bye for now, people. Enjoy your life.
you.